Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So as you guys will see the progress of the car from when I first got it. The Wilwood brakes are one of the first things I did because I had no brakes. At that time I did the front brakes, the master cylinder, and the brake lines. I couldn't find the video of the master cylinder installed, but it was a pain. And the brakes weren't too bad. The only thing I did wrong was I had the caliper mounting bracket backwards. So the caliper mounting bracket will face the orientation in which the calipers are facing the front of the vehicle. In the second half of the video, I have that, so you'll see that then. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the transformation from the car from the beginning of the video to about a year later, whenever I post the second half. And you can see it all painted and everything like that. Here I needed a flare wrench tool instead of a box end wrench tool. That's all I'm going over at that current moment. Here's my adapter, which kind of seems scratched up a little bit, but I really don't care about that. Not a big deal. But I cannot get it to fit. So I get the holes lined up. Alright, so see, I get the holes lined up. I've tried both of them. And while 3 of them fit, there's too much contact maybe with this one to where it's not sitting flush at all. And the bracket itself is hitting the suspension there. Okay, so I have the 4-bolt spindle for this 67 Ford Mustang. I'm having quite a bit of issues getting this caliper bracket on the actual spindle itself. Yeah, it's not fitting flush at all, as you can see. So I just put these bolts on there just so you can see the difference. So this one's not even tight, this bottom one here. So I take off the nut and the washer there. You can see there's almost goes flat. The rest of this does not go flat. Flush. This top bolt on the left side also barely gets through, and you use the longer nut to get through down there, right there, which is fine. The issue is the bracket itself is hitting right there. So I can't tighten anything up because it's not flush. If I tighten up even just this top screw, you can see the whole thing shifts because it's not flush at all. That's the best I can get it, but on that side you're still 16th. No, probably more 16th, 8th out. Alright, I know I gotta ask for a video to try and get some help. But I have this caliper bracket backwards. If I flip it the other way, it hits my suspension. The mounting tabs for the caliper itself right here, they just hit this lower suspension arm. Alright, the order for the hub is the cotter pin, the little castle like cover nut looking thing, the axle nut right here, and I believe that is just a bearing in there that I'm going to try and keep on. Looks like a bearing, like seal maybe. Might be able to get it out of there.
So far it goes, do like that cotter pin, that little guy, that axle nut, and then I'm assuming that little bearing. Oh, it's a bearing like dust cover. I'm not gonna worry about that. I should be able to get this nut out for the caliper. Maybe by hand, maybe not.
Today, guys, we're working on the caliper mounting bracket. So when I was able to actually drive my vehicle, the caliper mounting bracket, I had a bolt that backed out. So I couldn't figure out how come, causing my caliper to actually fall into my passenger side wheel. So that was a couple months ago, and I had actually bungee. I just had a bungee cord and bungeed my caliper back in enough because I was only about half a mile from home, and made it home. Haven't really driven the car since then because I'm working on some other stuff. So yeah, it's always something. Anyway, I wanted to show the difference. So here is the Wilwood mounting bracket, and as you can see, it has this nice insert there. It actually has threads. The old one, there is virtually nothing there. Let me get it, there we go. So somehow the threads get all chewed up, and it looks like that centerpiece basically came out. I don't really know exactly what happened there. So fortunately, another Wilwood thing, had to reorder parts. So I may have used the wrong bolts. I ordered new ones because I think these are technically like coarse thread or fine thread. I'm not entirely sure. 3/8 24. So I don't know. Maybe I used the wrong bolt, but all the other ones were fine. So I'm not gonna put it past me, but I'll just add it to the complaint box for the Wilwoods. Anyway, the getting this one off took me about 15 minutes. It's actually rather easy, especially now that I got all new hardware and I had new lug nuts and everything as well. So we will be putting that on. Some of the things I have noticed with these Wilwoods is when you're putting them on your bracket, they go forward. So your bracket's actually towards the front of the car, on the front, not the rear. I know I had that issue. Again, just be careful when you have the full kit. You really need to read every little thing because it says caliper mounting right there. I feel like when I first got this kit, it didn't say this right here at all. So about a year ago when I did this, so not entirely sure. But anyway, we got the new one, and I'll get you guys out in the car while I install it. All right, guys, we're back at the car. So we have the new caliper mounting bracket. The way that this mounts, you're gonna be utilizing these holes here, this one, and that one, the very bottom one here, and that top one. And I just marked it with a pencil, and it goes with the caliper facing the front of the vehicle. And basically it just sits in there, and the holes should line up very, very close. And that's the only thing we had to replace. I also had everything else already removed from the old drums that I had to the new ones, and then just replacing this guy. So in order to mount this, I'm just gonna leave it right there. I have a whole bunch of grease just left over from my wheel bearing that I replaced when I did all this too. You're gonna have 4 caliper mounting bolts. Hopefully you can see those. There's 2 separate sizes. The longer one is going to go in the bottom back bolt here. So in this case, the bottom left. On the passenger or the driver's side would be bottom right. And we're going to put the nut on the inside because you can't get it out with the like strut bar or whatever that is coming in. So put the nut on the inside. It's 11 millimeter. Hold it, tighten this guy, and you're gonna be good to go. I'm just gonna get these started in there and then go grab my thread locker and put it in. So we're gonna get this guy lined up, and it is a little tricky until you mark all your holes on which ones you need, which is why I did it inside based on my old one, because you can play around with it for a while. So I'm just gonna get that guy started just a little bit. Get the new one on, across from it.
doing it by hand. I don't know if it's really gonna be tight enough to keep it on there. Looks like it is. And it has little washers and everything on it. So I believe that came with the kit, if I had to guess. I don't exactly remember. This is one of the first things I did. When I first got my car, it didn't have brakes at all. It didn't work. So this is like probably the gas tank and this were the first two big mods I did. I actually do have video of that from way back when, before I even started a YouTube channel. So I'll probably eventually do a compilation, just kind of throw that in there. So anyway, yep, we got everything in. As you can see, I'm gonna go grab some thread locker and put some on those guys before I tighten them down. But I forgot to bring it out with me, so let me go grab that and I'll be right back. Okay, aside from making a mess with the thread locker, I got it all on there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten those up really quick. I had a 11 millimeter on the backside, which, there we go, and then it was, yep, 14 millimeter for the bolt on the front. And now that I've done these Wilwoods before, I think getting this whole thing off took me like 15 minutes, so that's pretty dang good. Really wasn't that bad. Cool. Now get them all nice and tight. I'm just getting them pretty hand tight. And then I need to look up the torque spec. Couldn't imagine it being too crazy, but they are your brakes, your caliper mounting bracket. So I do have a torque wrench, so I'll have to look that up too. And I'll just have to Google that. I think just one kind of good little tight. Especially if you have a thread lock or anything on there. Thinking it'll be all right, really. So. Yeah, so when I first did this, people like me didn't know that the caliper goes towards the front of the vehicle. And I actually saw online, there were people who actually cut their spindle where it connects to the tie rod and notched it out. And that's what I thought I had to do. I was super frustrated until I figured out that they go on the front. And once they went to the front, I mean, it went really quick. Now when I did mine, I also did all the brake lines in the entire car and the master cylinder, which was the first time ever doing any of that too. So it wasn't fun work, that's for sure, but we got it done. I just used the Nike Coupe or whatever, the copper from the auto parts store. So yeah. Yep, so next we're gonna go ahead and check the torque on those, and I'll be back. Okay guys, so we got everything nice and ugga-dugga on there. Pretty happy with it, so we're just gonna leave it at that. So with these caliper mounting bolts, just double checking that they sent me the right ones. As you can see, they did, which is nice. So there's two different types of washers with these. There is little tiny silver washer here and a gold washer. So these gold washers are actually little spacers for the caliper. So for mine, I had one on the outside and then one on the inside to get it spaced, and that's supposed to help you get it spaced within the rotor to get it as centered as you possibly can. It comes with looks like enough to do 2 or 3 on each one if need be. I just know that I'm gonna go off how I had mine, which was one behind and one in front. It's not exactly a perfect science or anything, but just get as close as you can. Here is the caliper. So this guy did sustain some damage whenever it fell, but I think we're gonna be all right. And the way it works is it goes around just like that. So this is essentially a through bolt. Oops. So it's essentially a through bolt, like so. Put on our one spacer on this side, and then it screws into the caliper mounting bracket, just like that. There we go. And I'm just gonna have that just like 1 or 2 threads in. Gonna throw some thread locker on it, and hope that it never comes off. That was pretty scary. There we go. And the size for that guy, I don't remember what it was. I think it was 7/16. It is 9/16. Awesome. Now all you gotta do, get this guy nice and tight. And I'm just getting it enough to where I can hold it in there. That way I can do my other bolt. So I'm doing this silver washer first, and then again one spacer on this side, and then one between the caliper and the bracket itself. And then I need some thread locker. Nope. Push back in a little bit. Okay, got just enough to get a little bit in there. Running really low on that guy. But anyway, get that guy nice and lined up. And now, it's pretty much all nice and tight. And she's on. I'm gonna be honest, I think I put the wrong bracket on now I'm looking at it. So let me go grab the other caliper mounting bracket, take a look, and check it out. I think the caliper should sit on this side, which then means I would need the one that's flipped. So this would be this way, I think. So let me go grab the other one and check it against my old one and see if I did that wrong. All right, so we're back, guys, and we did in fact install everything correctly. So we are good to go there. Now that I got them on, I do need to take off the calipers, take them back off. I was just trying to do that first, and then I forgot that I need to put the rotor back on. So I'm gonna take that back off real quick. Not a big deal. Because obviously, you need to put on the rotor. And these get torqued down. Well, I just double checked everything to like 40 foot-pounds, 45, and you don't even need to, technically you only need to, not like thread seal, but Loctite them, because the way that these are made, they're supposed to like cut into those threads or whatever. So if you do over tighten them, you know, you can cause some problems. So I think that's potentially what I did. And I hope that putting them on and taking them off doesn't mess up the caliper mounting brackets, or they don't cut how they're supposed to. I think it'd be silly if it was a single-use thing, but you just never know. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this guy off there completely. Just gonna tuck my rotor and just up out of the way for the time being. Sorry, caliper. I'm gonna go grab my rotor. We're gonna get that on, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So here's my rotor and hub assembly. I have all mine already all put together. As you can see, bearing and everything's still in there. The inner and outer wheel bearings. All right, re-put that in there, clean it up. And then if you look at your rotor, you're gonna notice a little arrow, and that's gonna spin towards the front of the vehicle. And I mean, honestly, it's pretty easy because everything's greased up. And I probably got about maybe 100 miles on this car altogether since I've done this. Maybe, I'd be surprised if it was that much. But you kind of push it on, and you'll see that the wheel bearing kind of holds it in place. That other one, the inner one, and then for this outer one, you're just gonna go ahead and put that guy on there, and you're gonna put it in going like that. And there's a little dust cap, and basically you just kind of, there's a keyed portion on the spindle with that black big washer, and that keys on, and it just kind of pushes on, and that is good to go. It's on. Now I just need to grab the big nut, castle nut, and a cotter pin and the cover. So let me go grab those. Alright, so the way that this works, we got our axle nut, and that's just going to go up against that washer. And I just used a big pair of channel locks, putting that on, just because that's what they did on TJ Pony Parts video. So, we should get that as tight as we can. And honestly, mine's gonna be a little bit different because I do have these 1-inch wheel spacers. Okay, that guy's on there. And we got the little castle nut portion, just slides on over. And now we get to play the fun game of finding the holes for the cotter pen. I do have new cotter pens, but I'm just gonna see if this one will just slide right through. And I don't remember if the cotter pens came with the kit or not. Okay. Didn't think this one was that bad. I guess it is. All right, I'm gonna go grab a new cotter pen. So we're back with some cotter pens that I got. Should go a little bit easier now that we got one that's straight. There we go. Right away, that was right in, no problems. Got a question for everybody. For cotter pens, do you separate each one, or do you put them both together? And why do you do it that way? This time, just because it's going to be easier, you can do them both together. But the one I took off, I did one each way. So I don't know the correct way, or if one's even better or not. Anyway, so cotter pen's on. So now we're just going to go ahead and put our little Wilwood cap on. That's just hand tight. And then we're gonna wipe all this down. Perfect. Gonna put our caliper back on. Now normally you might have to compress your calipers. In this case, I do not need to compress my calipers for my pads or anything, which is always nice. It's a little bit easier for everything. Get my spacer. Or shim, spacer, whatever. Now let's just try to get it all lined up. There it goes. We're just gonna have that pretty loosely hand tight. That way I can fish this bottom one in as well. Go. Perfect. Everything is on. We are good to go. Obviously this one was a little bit quicker because I already had the lines ran. I already had, you know, the old brakes, drums, and everything off. Might have to get another clip and get this flex line kind of up and out of the way. But yeah, everything is good to go. What I'm gonna do off camera is I got new lug nuts
for the spacers and for the wheels themselves. So I'm going to try and get this off, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to unless I have somebody else there to hit the brake. And unfortunately I don't right now. Might try and put a piece of wood or something on it and see if that'll work. But it's good to see that honestly the spacer, everything looks good on this side. So I might just throw the wheel on though. I'm not leaving it up on jack stands for the night. But anyway, that is how you do the front disc brake conversion with Wilwoods, or probably any other ones. It's probably very similar on a 67 Mustang. It'll obviously work for probably any first gen, maybe slight differences, but that is it. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw the wheel on off camera and get it knocked out, but that is going to be a video. That's gonna be all. As always, if anybody has any tips, tricks, comments, anything like that, go ahead and leave it in, just to help other people out who may find this video as they're working through restoring and doing some stuff on their Mustang as well. You know, I've been having a good time reading the comments, especially about my painting video. You know, that was a good one, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's going to conclude this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I think I'm going to be in the next one working on interior stuff. Not entirely sure. I kind of film these as I can after work and as parts come in, and actually as I have time to work on them, so they're a little bit behind for sure, but we'll see you in the next one.